Welcome to an extraordinary journey through the life of Mahatma Gandhi, a figure whose legacy of nonviolence and truth reshaped the course of history and inspired generations across the globe. This biography delves deep into the life of a man who, with his simple loincloth and walking stick, became one of the most influential leaders of the 20th century. From his early experiments with meat eating to his profound letters to world leaders and his ultimate sacrifice, we uncover the complexities and contradictions of a man who was as human as he was saintly. Gandhi's life was a testament to the power of nonviolent resistance and the impact of living one's values. His assassination, a moment that shocked the world, was a tragic end to a life dedicated to peace. Yet, it was in his death that his teachings on nonviolence were immortalized, echoing his belief that "my life is my message." This biography not only explores Gandhi's significant political achievements and his role in India's struggle for independence, but also provides a window into his personal life, his relationships, his spiritual journey, and the personal struggles that shaped his philosophy. From the streets of South Africa, where he first employed his revolutionary method of satyagraha, to the Salt March that challenged the British Empire, Gandhi's life was filled with moments of profound courage and conviction. Yet, it was his unwavering commitment to his principles in the face of adversity, his ability to inspire a nation to follow the path of nonviolence, and his personal sacrifices that truly define his legacy. As we explore Gandhi's life, we uncover 10 lesser-known facts that reveal the man behind the Mahatma. From his early fears and insecurities to his unique personal habits and the profound impact of his spiritual quest, these details provide a deeper understanding of Gandhi's motivations and the depth of his character. Accompanied by 3 of his most impactful quotes, this biography aims to inspire, inform, and provoke thought, inviting viewers to reflect on the power of individual action and the enduring relevance of Gandhi's teachings in today's world. Gandhi was born on October 2, 1869, in the coastal town of Porbandar, located in present-day Gujarat, India. His father, Karamchand Gandhi, served as the Diwan, chief minister, of Porbandar, while his deeply religious mother, Putlibai, was a devout practitioner of Jainism, influencing Gandhi with principles of nonviolence and vegetarianism from a young age. Despite his relatively modest upbringing, Gandhi's family background provided him with the unique blend of political and spiritual influences that would shape his future ideologies. During his adolescence, Gandhi's encounters with the ideas of nonviolence and religious tolerance were further enriched by his diverse schooling, which exposed him to Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. However, it was the injustices and discrimination he faced and observed during his years in South Africa that transformed these early influences into the principles of active, non-violent resistance. Gandhi's pursuit of education led him to London in 1888, where he studied law at the Inner Temple, one of the city's 4 law colleges. His time in London was marked by a period of significant personal transformation as he attempted to adapt to Western culture and ideas. Yet, he remained committed to the vow he made to his mother before leaving India, to abstain from meat, alcohol, and women. His studies in London also exposed him to influential texts on Hinduism and other religions, further broadening his philosophical perspectives. Upon returning to India in 1891, Gandhi struggled to establish a successful law practice. His career took a pivotal turn when he accepted a position in South Africa in 1893. It was here, amidst the stark realities of racial discrimination, that Gandhi began to develop and refine his techniques of satyagraha, truth force or nonviolent resistance, which would become the hallmark of his political activism. Gandhi's activism began in earnest in South Africa, where he fought for the rights of Indian immigrants facing systemic discrimination. His formation of the Natal Indian Congress in 1894 was a critical step in organizing the Indian community to campaign for their rights. Gandhi's innovative use of nonviolent protest, including strikes, non-cooperation, and public demonstrations, was not only effective in South Africa, but also laid the groundwork for his later efforts in India. Returning to India in 1915, Gandhi became a leading figure in the Indian National Congress, advocating for self-rule, Swaraj, and employing non-violent resistance against British rule. His leadership in the Champaran agitation of 1917 for the rights of farmers and the Kheda Satyagraha of 1918 for tax relief during a famine were early successes in India. However, it was the 1930 Salt March, a 240-mile march to the Arabian Sea to produce salt in defiance of British taxation, that cemented his role as a national leader and garnered international attention. Gandhi's life was marked by personal and political challenges. He was imprisoned several times, both in South Africa and India, for his activism. His commitment to non-violence was tested in the face of violent opposition, including the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where British troops killed hundreds of unarmed civilians. Gandhi's response, a call for non-cooperation with British authorities, showcased his unwavering commitment to non-violence, even in the face of grave injustice. His personal life was also a realm of struggle and self-discipline. Gandhi's vow of celibacy, adopted in 1906, and his experiments with diet were part of his broader quest for self-purification and spiritual development. These personal practices were intertwined with his political beliefs as he sought to embody the principles he preached. Gandhi's personal relationships were complex and deeply influential in his life. His marriage to Kasturba Gandhi at the age of 13 was arranged in accordance with the custom of the time. Despite the challenges of an early marriage, Kasturba became an integral part of Gandhi's life and activism, often participating in protests and initiatives alongside her husband. Gandhi's relationship with his children was marked by his high expectations and the same rigorous discipline he applied to himself, which sometimes led to estrangement. Gandhi's legacy extends far beyond the borders of India. His philosophy of nonviolent resistance has inspired countless leaders and movements around the globe, from Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership of the civil rights movement in the United States to Nelson Mandela's struggle against apartheid in South Africa. Gandhi's emphasis on social justice, environmental sustainability, and economic self-reliance continues to resonate with various movements and individuals seeking peaceful and equitable solutions to global challenges. Here are 10 things most people don't know about Gandhi. Gandhi's early experiments with meat eating as a teenager were driven by a friend's argument that meat was necessary for strength and bravery. He was deeply hurt by the partition of India in 1947, viewing it as a failure of his life's work towards Hindu-Muslim unity. Gandhi's favorite hymn was Vaishnava Jana To, which praises the person who feels the pain of others, helps those in distress, but does so with humility. Despite his legal training, Gandhi was known for his poor handwriting, which he himself described as resembling a bird's footprints. He regularly corresponded with famous figures, including Tolstoy, Einstein, and Hitler, the latter in an open letter urging him to avoid war. Gandhi's time in prison was often spent reading, writing, and spinning on his charkha, spinning wheel. He was deeply influenced by John Ruskin's book Unto This Last, which led him to establish the Phoenix Settlement in South Africa, a community living according to principles of equality and self-sufficiency. Gandhi's commitment to manual labor and simple living was such that he even cleaned his own latrines, a task considered untouchable. His last words after being shot were, "Hey Ram, oh God," reflecting his deep spirituality. Gandhi never held an official position in the Indian government post-independence, embodying his belief in serving without seeking power. Here are 3 powerful quotes from Gandhi. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. My life is my message. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Gandhi's early life was marked by an amalgamation of influences that shaped his psychological development. His mother's devout Jainism, emphasizing non-violence and fasting, alongside his father's role as a community leader, instilled in him a sense of duty and spiritual discipline from a young age. These influences can be seen as foundational to his later emphasis on nonviolent resistance and self-sacrifice. Psychoanalytically, one might argue that Gandhi's superego was strongly influenced by these early experiences, internalizing a moral code that guided his actions throughout his life. Gandhi's writings and actions suggest a man constantly battling internal fears and guilt. His experiments with diet, celibacy, and truth-telling can be seen as attempts to master these internal conflicts. From a psychoanalytic perspective, these could be viewed as manifestations of a rigorous superego imposing strict moral standards upon himself. Gandhi's adherence to ascetic practices and self-denial may have been a means of coping with guilt, particularly related to his perceived moral failings. This relentless self-scrutiny and desire for moral perfection reflect a complex interplay between his ego and superego, driving him towards a path of continuous self-improvement and self-purification. Gandhi's ability to empathize with the suffering of others and his identification with the masses can be analyzed through the lens of Jungian psychology. His concept of sarvodaya, or welfare for all, and his efforts to live among and as one of the impoverished masses of India suggest a deep identification with the collective unconscious of humanity. This profound empathy and identification with the collective might have been a psychological mechanism that allowed Gandhi to channel his personal struggles into a larger societal context, thus finding personal healing through the act of collective healing. Gandhi's commitment to nonviolence, or ahimsa, was not just a political strategy, but also a profound psychological stance. It can be interpreted as a manifestation of his deep-seated belief in the unity of all living beings, a principle deeply rooted in Jain philosophy. This belief system provided a psychological framework that guided his actions and interactions with both allies and adversaries. By refusing to inflict harm, Gandhi maintained psychological integrity, aligning his actions with his inner moral compass. This nonviolent approach can also be seen as a form of psychological resilience, allowing Gandhi to confront and absorb the violence and hatred directed at him without allowing it to corrupt his own psyche. Mahatma Gandhi's life, a testament to the power of nonviolent resistance and the indomitable spirit of human resilience, came to a tragic end on January 30, 1908. On that fateful day, Gandhi was on his way to a prayer meeting at the Birla House in New Delhi. As he walked through the garden with his grandnieces, Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist, stepped out from the crowd and bowed. Gandhi greeted him with his usual "Namaste," a gesture of peace and goodwill. It was then that Godse fired 3 bullets into Gandhi's chest at point-blank range. Gandhi's last words were, "Hey Ram, O God," a reflection of his deep spirituality and commitment to God until his very last breath. The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi sent shockwaves through India and the world. The man who had led India to independence through a philosophy of nonviolence had been violently taken away. The irony of his death was not lost on the world, nor was the profound loss felt by millions. Gandhi's death could arguably have been prevented. He had survived 5 assassination attempts before. However, his open-access lifestyle and refusal to be surrounded by heavy security made him vulnerable. Gandhi believed in living among the people he served, without barriers, a principle he maintained steadfastly until the end. The impact of Gandhi's assassination on the community was profound and immediate. An outpouring of grief swept across India and the world. People from all walks of life, across the nation and beyond, mourned the loss of a leader who had become a symbol of peace and hope for oppressed people everywhere. The Indian government declared a period of mourning, and millions attended Gandhi's funeral procession. His body was cremated according to Hindu rites, and his ashes were scattered in rivers across India, as per his wishes. In the aftermath of his death, numerous events took place to memorialize and celebrate Gandhi's life. Statues were erected, and annual commemorations were established to honor his legacy. The United Nations declared October 2nd, Gandhi's birthday, as the International Day of Nonviolence, reinforcing his global impact. Schools, roads, and public institutions around the world have been named after him, ensuring that his teachings and legacy continue to inspire future generations. Gandhi's death, while a moment of profound loss, also served as a catalyst for reflection on his teachings of nonviolence, peace, and the power of truth. It reminded the world of the values he stood for and the vision he had for a just society. In his death, as in his life, Gandhi became a beacon of hope and a symbol of the strength of peaceful resistance in the face of oppression and violence. As we conclude this biography, we reflect not just on the life and death of Mahatma Gandhi, but on the enduring legacy he leaves behind. His philosophy of nonviolence, his unwavering commitment to truth, and his tireless pursuit of justice continue to inspire and challenge us. Gandhi's life and death remind us of the cost of freedom and the perpetual struggle for rights and equality. In remembering Gandhi, we are reminded of the power of individual action, the importance of living by one's principles, and the impact one life can have on the world.